But yeah, before we get to Elon Musk and his new party, let's take a look at
Back to the
coffeezila.
void. Today we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein. The big update, which is just that he had no client list and offed himself. That's according to Axios. In a big scoop, they apparently got a hold of this document from the US DOJ and FBI, kind of a joint statement.
Yeah, guys, you don't understand. So he was trafficking in no one and killed himself for no reason. Yeah. You don't understand. He was trafficking for no one, and he was just doing it for the love of the game. He was just like a serial sex trafficker and pedophile, but just for himself. And all of the people that were, that he was hanging out with, like, they all just happened to really like his vibes, and they were not clients of his. The hours and hours and hours of videotapes that were uncovered in the raid, because all of his houses were taped. Okay, all of his houses had a shit ton of security cameras everywhere. Okay, and there were hours and hours of tapes that were recovered from these raids, and the tapes were named, like the tapes had names on them, right? But he was just a guy who loves videography. And he was just doing it for the love of the game. He was not filming people in his mansion doing sex crimes. Those people were just there because they loved chilling with Jeffrey. And they had no idea that he was a pedophile, even though he went to fucking jail for it. What the hell?
We're going to go through it. They say, as a part of a commitment to transparency, the Department of Justice and Federal Bureau of Investigation have conducted an exhaustive review of the investigative holdings related to Jeffrey Epstein, sort of a relook at the evidence, if you will, and they come to some very interesting findings. And it's interesting in that it's contrary to what a lot of what they've been saying all along, and that's what's kind of the problem here. For the last few months, we've been teased along with these statements about, we've got the client list.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
We've got thousands of videos.
There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child.
And then, Kash Patel goes on Joe Rogan and says, hey, there ain't no videos. If I had a video of a guy on an island committing a felony, don't you think you know about it?
Again, logical play out. If there was a video.
Yeah, come on, Joe. Don't you trust me? Literally the least trustworthy looking person that they could have found to do this. This was so funny because, like, Kash Patel always looks stressed up. He just looks so unimaginably stressed, possibly on fucking some kind of upper. Like, he could be telling you what he ate at lunch, and I'd be like, dude, I don't think you ate whatever you're saying. You just look like a fucking liar. No matter what you say, you look like you're a liar. But then, on top of that, the things he was saying on the Joe Rogan Experience were so crazy that even the Joe Rogan stands were like, yeah, this is not going to fucking float our boat. Doesn't. Trust me, Joe. Do I look like an untrustworthy person to you? Do I look like, as a part of the FBI's directive, I would hide information about a potential member, an asset of the intelligence community that was engaging in a high-profile sex trafficking and blackmail operation, Joe? I would not. That's why I was like, nah, no shot, dog. This motherfucker is definitely hiding it.
Of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island, and I'm in charge. Don't you think you'd see it?
It's already.
No.
Like a bit of a contradiction.
No. Why would we? What have you done that would cause us to even have any confidence in you? What have you said or done that would instill confidence in me? You literally look like the least secure man in America, the least trustworthy man in America.
Contradiction. Now, Joe Rogan even tries to give him the out, like, oh, maybe you don't have it. And he's like, no, we're giving you everything.
If you have access to it.
If I have it, period.
Right.
If I have it.
Right. If you have it.
Right.
But you can't say that you have it
No, we're giving you everything we have.
so far.
Everything we have so far is
Have
the
you guys
universe.
gone over all the video that's available?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. That's what takes so much damn time.
And so there already was a wedge with what we were sort of told we're going to get versus then they come out and say, hey, nothing to see here. And today is a little bit more of that. It's a little bit more of the finger wagging at the conspiracy theorists, which is ironic given that both Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, who have now come out saying there's nothing to see here, guys, were saying, oh, there's a lot to see here before they got in.
Who killed Jeffrey Epstein?
This doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a suicide.
It's unbelievable. The guy killed himself.
Now, maybe that.
Yeah, one of the funniest aspects of this is literally that the people that they task with this are the people that also played a formative role in the public increasing their curiosity. And I think this was a mistake. I think they legit thought, as long as we have these like conspiracy theory guys that have developed significant audiences in these spaces, as long as they are the primary communicators, that people will trust them. People will just believe whatever the fuck they say. Not realizing that people care about this shit. Like, they care about this shit a lot more than they care about Dan Bongino. Why would they even give a shit about Dan Bongino? Who cares about Dan Bongino? You know? The only reason why these people even developed an interest in what Dan Bongino was about was because he seemingly was trying to arrive at the fucking truth.
That because they did a deep dive and they're just being honest with people.
Again, you want me to get, I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
But I think you deserve criticism if you're going to engage in this type of conspiracy.
Also, yeah, I mean, listen, Coffee, you're not thinking about how much Dan Bongino has suffered, okay? Think about how much Dan Bongino has suffered. I feel like this is really messed up that CoffeeZilla is hitting him with this when...
I mean, I gave up everything for this. I mean, you know, my wife is struggling. I'm not a victim. I'm not Jim Comey. It's fine. I did this, and I'm proud I did it. But if you think we're there for tea and crumpets, well, I mean, Cash is there all day. We share it. Our offices are linked. He turns on the faucet. I hear it. He's there. He gets in at like 6 o'clock in the morning. He doesn't leave till 7 at night.
Yeah, dude. I was a podcaster. You know, I was working in the trenches. Now I have to be in a tiny office, and I have to hear Kash Patel drop the nastiest shits in the room next door. Okay? Think about how terrible this is. Why does nobody care? Why doesn't anybody care about me? What the fuck? I don't get to see my family anymore. I used to see them when I was podcasting.
You know, I'm in there at 7:30 in the morning. You know, he uses the gym. I work out in my apartment. But I stare at these four walls all day in D.C., you know, by myself, divorced from my wife. Not divorced, but I mean separated, divorced. And it's hard. I mean, you know, we love each other, and it's hard to be apart.
But you're doing some great work. You're straightened out at the FBI. You're moving buildings. There's a lot of change.
I got one more thing. I mean, I gave up everything for this. I mean, you know.
He gave up everything for this, dude. I need you to understand something here. It's like, this is if whichever the next Democratic administration is, like, put me in charge of the FBI, okay? If I'm the deputy director of the FBI. Like, quite literally, in order for you to understand how psychotic this is, it's as though Democrats came back in charge and then they put my ass as the deputy director of the FBI, okay? Because that's him. Dan Bongino is the me on the other side. Okay? Think about how psychotic that is. Anyway, let's get back to the primary purpose of why they did this and how much of a failure it's been so far.
Thinking, and then when it's convenient for you, you expect the trust of the people. If you're the one saying like, hey, those guys can't be trusted, you become that guy and you go, well, guys, you can trust me, right? When I'm going to say the exact same thing everyone's been saying this whole time. That's why it's so stupid. I mean, you guys set up all the wrong expectations. You told us we're going to reveal the truth, and now they're saying there's nothing to see here, and shame on you for thinking there was. And once again, this is more self-contradiction, because in this statement, we actually find immediately first page, second paragraph, saying that there's a large volume of images of Epstein, images and videos of victims who are either minors or appear to be minors. My question is, there's no one else in this statement. They admit.
Yeah, he was the one who was just doing all of the pedophilia. All of the people that have frequented his houses, they were always there for the vibes alone. Like, they were not there for the things that Jeffrey Epstein was doing. And also, given the density over numerous years, given the amount of times, like the amount of hours recorded in these fucking tapes, someone must have randomly encountered Jeffrey Epstein doing the deed, right? Even if he was just doing it himself.
That Epstein harmed over 1,000 victims. So you got 1,000 people, either some form of evidence that he harmed.
Like, what this is what's so crazy. It's like 1,000 plus victims. So Jeffrey did it just himself. In what time frame? 1,000 victims. Jeffrey did it just himself. He was just like a serial fucking pedophile rapist. But while he was doing it so frequently, none of the people that were constantly going in and out, none of the wealthy clientele, well, not clientele, sorry, wealthy friends of Jeffrey Epstein that were going in and out of his house ever encountered this. Like former Prime Minister of Israel, Ehud Barak, in 2016. Or even Kimball Musk, Elon Musk's brother, who was dating one of the girls that Jeffrey Epstein was flying around. Prince Andrew. Alan Dershowitz, Bill Clinton.
Nobody else was involved? Epstein's around the most powerful people on the planet. 1,000 victims. No, nobody else. There's images and videos. Apparently, that's what they say. Nobody else is on camera, right? Because otherwise, that would mean that the FBI director went on Joe Rogan and told a lie, told a little fib.
If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
No, I don't. Why would we think that you would reveal this information? What have you done so far that would lead us to believe that you would be an honest actor here? I don't think, and also I was right. We were right for not thinking you would actually reveal this information. Because, like, go back to the video that I did on the Joe Rogan Experience with Kash Patel and Joe Rogan.
But he says he's going to get the evidence out. So how do you square this, right? There's 1,000. Was Epstein just filming himself the whole time? Did he put it in the evidence box? I mean, that's the ridiculous thing about this. Why would you film yourself committing these acts? That's where the whole blackmail angle came from. There's all these videos for what, right? And I'm sure those people, these powerful people, did not consent to being recorded. So what else was this being used for? It's just pretty amazing. This whole statement seems to absolve any third parties saying that they really have nothing else that they can bring that would expose third parties to allegations of illegal wrongdoing. Saying later, this systemic review revealed no incriminating client list. Now, here's where I got to say, like, yeah, what, you didn't find the little notebook that had the, like, every guy that did something wrong on it? Yeah, obviously that's probably not going to exist, right? But if you have videos and somebody appears in the video doing something bad, it's not a client list, but that's a client, right? So I just find it so hard to believe. I just don't believe. I'm going to be honest. I do not believe that you had so many videos, apparently enough to catalog over 1,000 victims, and not a single other person other than Epstein appeared on any of them, right? He's friends with all these famous people. He got rich, and nobody knows how he got rich. People suspect that it was some form of blackmail, but the FBI seems to basically say this is a conspiracy theory. They say perpetuating unfounded theories about Epstein serves neither of those ends of combating child exploitation and bringing justice to victims. You know, I actually agree with that. I do think we have to be careful not to jump to, conspiracy theories. The problem is when you release contradictory evidence, it makes people think that you're hiding stuff. Like that is not being helped in this release. I don't know if they're saying, oh, we're being so transparent here. Seems like...
Okay, to be fair to the FBI, I'm going to say this once again, but like they worked really hard on this blackmail operation. So don't you think it's a little inappropriate to demand that they ruin years and years of sexual blackmail material that they worked actively to cultivate? I mean, they worked really hard on it. In their defense, they worked really fucking hard on it, and you guys are just trying to fuck up the bag, and it's messed up. Okay? It's messed up. Like, joint CIA Mossad operation. It's disrespectful, really. Yeah, it is. It's disrespectful to demand that they turn over their work. Adam Sosnick defending the Epstein cover-up on PBD. Are you not value-tained? Oh, my God. Oh, I am so value-tained. I'm about to get even more value-tained. And also, prominent MAGA influencers are now coming out, like Robbie Starbuck. Pam Bondi said the Epstein client list was on her desk for review to release to the public just a few months ago. Now the DOJ she leads claims that there was no Epstein client list. Sorry, but this is unacceptable. Was she lying then or is she lying now? We deserve answers. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Elon Musk also posted this last night. What's the time? Oh, look, it's no one has been arrested o'clock again. The official Jeffrey Epstein pedophile arrest counter. I think Elon Musk is doing this because he knows full well that the Trump administration will never reveal this information. Okay? That's it. Because I think he knows that every single person that's implicated in this is ultimately protected by the administration, by every administration. The entire purpose that the American government serves is to protect the super wealthy. Okay? That is their primary purpose here, chat. And Elon knows that he will never be implicated in this, or his brother will never be implicated in this, because they will never release this information. That's why he can posture like this. Here's a guy who has quite literally been around Ghislaine Maxwell at events. His brother directly dated a Jeffrey, one of the girls that were trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein, or one of the girls that were flown around by Jeffrey Epstein. His brother used to go to Jeffrey Epstein's mansion in New York, Kimball Musk. So he's just posturing this way to beef up his populist talking points to win support and take advantage of the chaos that the Trump administration is bringing about by cutting away at significant portions of the MAGA base that played a formative role in demanding these kinds of things. You know, I'm just gonna show this one more time. Obviously, as far as the people that are implicated with Jeffrey Epstein or connected to Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump's connections to Jeffrey Epstein actually comes after. Okay, as recently as his last tenure, when he, like I said, brought up Alexander Acosta and made him the labor secretary. Alexander Acosta is the person that gave Jeffrey Epstein, in his first sex trafficking charges, pedophile sex trafficking charges, a sweetheart plea deal that allowed him to literally leave the prison. Okay? Nothing. This has never happened before and has never happened since. Alexander Acosta, after the new revelations came out about Jeffrey Epstein, including his involvement in the prosecution, had to basically quietly resign from this position. That was Trump's labor secretary. Okay? Trump's initial involvement with Jeffrey Epstein was famously in the first case against Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein used Mar-a-Lago as a hunting ground for new victims. That's the case. Straight up. And now you got even DC Drano, Rogan O'Handley, admitting the White House used them for a publicity stunt. As one of the influencers who was given the now infamous Epstein binder, I want to share a few thoughts. I understand the rage people have for demanding the Epstein client list and res. Every influencer there that day feels the same anger watching pedo elites get away with the most heinous crimes. We want justice, and almost all of us have called for the client list and arrest for years. We had no idea we would receive the Epstein binders that day. We were originally invited for a meeting with Vice President J.D. Vance in the White House, and that was it. We all paid for our flights and hotels out of pocket and carved out time to go. None of us even knew who else was invited. We ended up meeting with President Trump, Marco Rubio, RFK, Kash Patel, Caroline Leavitt, and basically half of Trump's cabinet in the Oval Office. We were honored to be invited. What a great honor. He's like, they used and abused us, man. This is fucked up. There was no advance notice about binders or any other meetings except our meeting with JD. We had a surprise meeting with Attorney General, and she handed us the Epstein file binders. We all heard on the news the night before that she would be releasing the Epstein files that day, so it was surreal to have a copy in our hands. The photo shoot was not planned. We were walking from the White House to the Eisenhower building, and about 50-plus photographers were waiting outside for the UK Prime Minister to arrive and meet with Trump. Myself and others held up the binders because we were enthusiastic about justice finally coming for the pedo elites after living for 4 years under a rigged and stolen presidency. We were told a lot of the info. Dude, first of all, these guys are careerists, okay? That's the reason why they were celebrating. They were like, oh my God, my conspiratorial career has finally gotten me entry into the White House. I'm like, I have direct access to the administration. They don't give a fuck about the truth. Everyone who actually cares about the Epstein case knew this, okay? And clearly, they never cared. Also, Jeffrey Epstein was murdered when Trump was the president. What are we talking about? It's not just Alexander Acosta. Jeffrey Epstein was killed in a federal facility when Trump was the president. These guys are so fucking stupid and so goddamn delusional. I do not understand how you can be this delusional. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Murdered, question mark? Yes. Unless you believe the Trump administration when they say, no, you see, that's not what happened. He actually killed himself because he was really sad. He's like, excuse me. Killed? I thought it was suicide. Where's your proof? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't believe if these guys are like memeing actively or if they just like, they're drones. This is literally what happened in the aftermath of the initial New York Times reporting on the matter too, where so many people turned around and were like, no, Jeffrey Epstein actually didn't kill himself. I read it in the New York Times report. Like, they didn't even reveal any information that was convincing. Like, you just read it and you took it as fact. That's it. Reddit. Reddit. It's crazy that the guy who was a known pedophile sex trafficker was allowed to operate in elite circles after it was known that he was a pedophile sex trafficker. And he has like known collaborators, including but not limited to fucking actual princes or former prime ministers of Israel like Ehud Barak and a bunch of the Democratic Party's elite. And we're acting as though and including Donald Trump, and we're acting as though like it's ridiculous that that it's ridiculous to assume that he actually was murdered. I'm sorry, dude. That's fucking psychotic. Okay? That is, I mean, you are the biggest sucker of all time. Yeah, and now fell for it again award for the Hodge twins. I mean, they're the dumbest in the right-wing circle. I didn't vote for elite pedophiles to be protected. Yeah, there was also apparently 1 minute missing from the Jeffrey Epstein, alleged Jeffrey Epstein cell footage as well.
The first big release was a nothing burger.
Yeah, wouldn't you be sad if your former cop cellmate tried to kill you? That's why former cop roid monster, okay, tries to kill you, and then you're put on suicide, well, that was him attempting suicide, actually. He just, the official narrative is that he tried to kill himself once, so then they put him on suicide watch, but then just, you know, video footage went away and the guards were sleeping. Yeah. Officer Tartaglio.
Then they said they had, reviewing all these videos. Then they say if we have videos of people committing crimes, we tell you about those. And then they say we have thousands of videos, but we're not going to show you them because there's nothing to see. There's nobody on there important. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Quote, we did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. In other words, there's nothing we found that would be useful for a future investigation. That's what I find so interesting. Like, I get if you don't want to accuse someone in a press release of something that you haven't accused someone of, like, with criminal charges, right? I get it. That's kind of the Department of Justice's way. Even if they have a file on somebody, but they're not going to charge them, they redact their names, usually. But in this case...
Yeah, it's so interesting. Let's pack it up. It's just like the additional known affiliates were given a were basically struck from the official record in the subsequent plea bargain deal that Jeffrey Epstein took, if you recall, in the previous time he actually went and served a fake prison sentence. You know? It's just like, yeah, no known affiliates, actually. There's nothing. There's no information here because, like, clearly there's no client list. There's no official client list. So there's no official elite pedophiles that frequented any number of different Jeffrey Epstein mansions.
They're kind of saying, we didn't find anything that we would, I mean, it's such a strongly worded statement. That's what's weird about it. Why wouldn't you just be vague if you had these pending cases, right? I find it so weird that the people in the FBI right now have come in with such a mission to, on the one hand, say, hey, we're going to be totally transparent. And then, oh, well, we're not going to show you that. We're not going to show you that. We don't want to re-victimize anyone. Okay, that's fine. But then how are you going to make a bunch of absolute statements that make no sense and contradict what you said earlier? Like, if you're saying we can't say anything, then don't say anything. Don't say, hey, we're going to tell you everything. Well, we actually cannot. We can't actually show you. And that kind of overconfidence extends to also their, pronouncement about, hey, there's nothing to see here as far as the death of Epstein, because they don't really show much new here. We knew that this footage of the common area existed. Basically, they showed 10-hour footage of the common area during the time at which this all would have happened, Epstein's death. And so this is supposed to be like the absolute bulletproof, to show everyone that, oh, there's no way that someone could have gotten in here. But this is not actually Epstein's door. So, I mean, I don't know the exact layout of the prison. I'm not going to pretend to know everything there. But this is no more proof.
You have a big mouth, Hasan. Please return to Turkey and try again.
Than we already had. We already knew this existed. The questions were about all the security malfunctions of the much more important cameras than just the common area. I'm not sure how a 10-hour video of a common area definitively proves anything new. That's what I'm saying. You can't come in and go, hey, we got this bombshell. It's what you already knew, right? That doesn't make sense. And also, we've confirmed there's over 1,000 victims. Don't know who by. I mean, like, only Epstein? Really? Look at the charges of Ghislaine Maxwell. I mean, it's insane. Are we saying they were all to Epstein? Every single one. Over 1,000 only for Epstein. The way he got his money, we have no idea. It doesn't make sense.
No, he was just a chill guy. That's why Lex Wexner, the founder of Victoria's Secret and L Brands, was just a homie and basically made Jeffrey Epstein be his money guy and have complete control over Les Wexner. Allowed Jeffrey Epstein to control basically his entire finances because he was a fucking chill guy and a money wizard, That's what it is.
So yeah, an incredibly frustrating day for anyone who was expecting anything new from this.
Lex stole Victoria's Secret. He didn't found it. Oh, my bad. I thought he found it.
Administration coming in saying,
yeah, or the Dersh. Look at all of the wonderful individuals that were surrounding Jeffrey Epstein. I mean,
they were going to clean house, get rid of the corruption, fight for truth, release the truth. You're not gonna catch me hiding a guy on an island, right? And so I don't know. I was kind of stunned to see this report. I just thought, if you're gonna say this, which again doesn't really say anything new, only it's kind of like a backhanded, hey, stop being such a conspiracy theorist, guys. That is what I find strange. Just the absolute over-promising and under-delivering. I mean, again, if you're gonna open source everything, okay, that's fine. If you're not gonna open source everything, you're gonna say, hey, we gotta protect people, fine. Don't make a bunch of pronouncements and don't deliver on them. Just kind of a complete self-own here. But it's also what you get when you say for years that the deep state is hiding something and then you become the deep state.
yeah. I mean, the deep state is the friends we made along the way.